There is an amazing program that started 10 years ago or so in New Bedford, and then it moved to Acushnet. It's a program that helps hundreds, perhaps thousands of needy families and children every year. It's called Gifts to Give, and its director, CEO actually, Jim Stevens, joins us today. Welcome, Jim Stevens.
Good afternoon, Jim. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you hate to talk about yourself, Jim.
I do, actually.
All right, give us
Well, I was born the children of poor black sharecroppers in Mississippi in 1923. I'm just one lucky guy, Jim. I had a terrific career, grew up in a good family, got a good education, had a great corporate career, raised a couple of wonderful sons, and at 50 I decided to not retire, but to start an encore career, and started dabbling in philanthropy. And it started with money, and then it started with things, and I realized the only way to really affect change was to be on the ground. And 10 years ago I took a model called Gifts to Give and opened in New Bedford. And the model is kind of simple, and it's impossible. We had 5 basic criteria: never to have a payroll, never to take any government grants, to connect with thousands of children every year, to be totally transparent, and to find a way to pay for itself, to have a for-profit business. So those were the 5 criteria we started with. And
you've done that.
We have. I mean, it's fragile. Everything is fragile lately, but it's working, and we're building something substantial. And so, you know what? I'm going to just say it is working. I just don't want to jinx myself. But 10 years in, last year, 12,000 local kids came to the factory, checked in, and volunteered. So 1,000 local kids a month are coming to the factory to volunteer. We collect 20,000 pounds a week of used things, clothes and books and shoes and toys. It's amazing. The most amazing things and the most unbelievable crap. Yeah. And about 4,000 adult volunteers a year. So 250 kids, 50 or 60 adults a week, so 310 to 350 volunteers help us process this 20,000 pounds of stuff. And then we give it away. And we give it away to local children that are living in poverty or are homeless. And the statistics are depressing. In America, we're using $17,000 a year for a family of 3 to define poverty. And in America, there are 24 million children living in poverty in America, and I can't get my mind around that. In the developed world, the United States has the 2nd highest percentage of children living in poverty, behind Romania. And this year, Romania will do better, and I think Brazil takes its place, and we maintain our wonderful number 2. I can't get my mind around 24 million. On the South Coast, our market area between Newport, Rhode Island, and the Upper Cape, Wareham, the Upper Cape, there's 75,000 local children living in poverty, and 1 out of 10 is homeless. That's 7,500 local kids. And people say to me, it can't be 7,500. A fact, a little over 13,000 kids started school in New Bedford this past September, and over 970 were homeless. There's a law in Massachusetts called McKinney-Vento, where the public schools have to identify the children and provide services as best they can for those children. So the 21 school nurses have reported back to us almost 1,000 kids in New Bedford. So that's the kids locally we want to help. We're not social workers. Our business is connecting children to giving and service, to philanthropy and citizenship. So the volunteers are our business. We have an online shopping cart like Amazon.com, and we have about 500 users: shelter workers, social workers, public school nurses, churches, mosques, temples. We've got a couple of bus drivers that'll see a kid get on the bus in February without socks on, and they'll just go online and write a request. I've got a 9-year-old boy, and he needs a week's worth of winter clothes and a winter coat, and, oh, by the way, the mom could use a stroller for the 1-year-old baby. And this year we'll fill about 7,000 gift package requests for local kids. And the social worker, shelter worker that requests it comes and picks it up. We never see the families we help. So we're not in the business of determining need. And again, we ran our 10th year without a payroll. We have a staff of 38 boomers, 8 grandpas, and 30 grandmas, and a lot of drama. But we still have no payroll.
That's a great thing. I want to comment on a couple of these items. Who contributes this stuff? Where does it come from?
You know, I don't think Gifts to Give has a 10% brand recognition on the South Coast. And we have no trucks, no pickups, no bins. You have to drop it off at our back door. 20,000 pounds a week. You got to come and see. Nobody believes it till they see it, which just goes back to the kind of societies we live in. We have that much stuff. It's crazy. Jim, it got so bad actually 3 years ago. 10% of the stuff that people give us isn't appropriate for children. It's adult clothes and housewares, George Foreman grills and blenders and toasters and picture frames. We used to fill up a Salvation Army truck once a week and felt really good about it. And Salvation Army would take it and sell it to savers. All these charities use things to sell to get the money to run their programs, and they do amazing work.
Right.
We opened a thrift store 3 years ago inside the factory. It's only open on Saturdays. And that thrift store right now in 5 hours once a week is paying about 70% of our overhead and our operating expenses.
With all that,
yeah,
on top of all that, you have helped really to foster a culture of volunteerism. 1,000 kids a month walk in there, not to grab stuff and go, but to fold clothes, repair small toys.
We start the
push the dust off books.
We start the volunteers at 3 years old.
Yeah.
3 and 4-year-olds manufacture 100 feet a week of birthday wrapping paper. 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds scrub Matchbox cars and Legos with Simple Green and toothbrushes.
High school kids flock to Gifts to Give to fulfill public service requirements for graduation.
Yeah.
They're all there.
We're building a more caring community. I don't know. When I was a kid, there was probably 20 touch points in my community, and those touch points don't exist anymore. And where does a kid go to just show up and do good work? And we're a drop-in. We make it really easy for people to volunteer.
I have a disabled daughter. She goes there every other Wednesday.
I had no idea.
You're
sandbagging me, Jim.
Well, maybe so.
Okay.
I thought
and
it was worth sharing.
How's her experience?
She loves going there.
Yeah.
She loves going there.
We have actually about 250 special needs adults that cycle through during the week. And, you know, the joke is everybody has a gift to give. But at the end, it's not a joke. It's true.
It's true.
Yeah. There's always something you can do.
I saw this term in a newspaper article. You used it. A lot of service learning. If
we're on a mission, that's what it is, to connect children to giving and service. But it has to be real. It has to be tangible. And the factory makes it tangible.
This is Townsquare Sunday. I'm Jim Phillips. My guest is Jim Stevens, the CEO of Gifts to Give in Acushnet. The move to Acushnet happened 5 years ago.
The building we were leasing in the South End, we were leasing an old Berkshire Hathaway factory. And the owner came to me upset one day and said, "I am so sorry, but I've sold the building." And we thought it was over for us. But he had bought another building, the original title is Ball Plant in Acushnet, and gave us the same discounted rent in Acushnet that he gave us in New Bedford. So through his generosity and philanthropy, we were able to double our space.
All right. So how do you pay the rent when there's no...
Well, we've never taken a grant. In the beginning, it was just a couple of crazy people that paid the expenses. We publish our tax returns online at our website, giftstogive.org. but we've run for the last 10 years on the average of about $240,000 a year. And we've privately funded that in the beginning from 2 or 3 people. Last year it was 900 families. Not a lot of big checks, a lot of small checks. And the thrift store now is kicking in about 60% of the revenue. So we'll be at a point where the thrift store should be able to pay our overhead, and then we can take the money we raise every year and push it back out into the community and start hiring interns in college to help us mentor in middle school and do some early literacy work, because the key to everything for us seems to be public education. But the missing elephant in the room, if the solution for poverty is public education, the thing that's missing is healthy families. And a large majority of children living in poverty are living in single-head of households run by women, and it takes 110 hours a week at minimum wage to raise a couple of kids and rent an apartment in New Bedford. And how do you have a healthy family around that dynamic? So we've all got to come together and support these kids, and I think that's what we're doing, or we're trying to do.
Facebook's a great thing.
It is.
Are you in dire need of items now? Because I saw an article on Facebook.
You know, we're always in need. Where dire comes from, it's who the spin is, but we can't control who goes online. You know, we're pretty good always for clothes and books and toys for kids. We are low on certain sizes, and we publish those every week on our website. But it's the consumables that we're in dire need of, the things that we can't repurpose, underwear and socks, toothbrushes and toothpaste, arts and crafts supplies, and newborn baby supplies, the ointments and the things that are consumable. We're always in need of those things.
All right, Jim Stevens. Now, take yourself out of the nonprofit world for just a moment.
Okay.
Just a moment.
Okay.
You used to be there.
Oh, yeah.
You get people to give. You get people to work without compensation.
Yeah.
I can't imagine there isn't someone in corporate America that would pay. There is somebody in corporate America, I know, that would pay big for those skills. That's an amazing thing, to get people to give and work without compensation, Jim. But somehow you get that done.
Jim, I think I've never said this publicly, so I'm going to do it right here with you today, and I'm going to expound on this for the next 12 months. If there's a secret sauce in my model, it's the boomer. It's the retiree. And this is another fact. 10,000 Americans are turning 65 every day for the next 19 years. That's a fact. And if the secret sauce to gifts to give are boomers, we need another 30 or 40 boomers to come and help us mornings when the kids are in school. Kids are great at processing donations and toys, but they can't separate clothes. They can't separate books in an efficient manner, so we need adults. So we've got, in America, people that have spent their whole lives building skill sets, and then they retire. They're at the pinnacle of their skill set. And all I'm trying to do is tap that expertise.
There you go. Looking for retirees at Gifts to Give.
Interesting that you brought that up. Thank you.
How can people help you? Where can people go, really, to learn more about this organization, this remarkable organization?
Well, we've set it up to be simple. Individual adults and families, it's a drop-in. We're open every day except Sunday. We open at 9 o'clock every day. There's all kinds of information on our website, giftstogive.org, and our local phone number is 508-717-8715. And there's always a volunteer manager on duty. And we've set it up so that anybody can come in and ask for a volunteer orientation tour. It takes about 10 minutes. It's a 50,000 square foot factory, and we'll take you on a tour. I can't explain it. You have to come and see it to believe it. But within the factory, there are literally 100 different things you can do.
I called Gifts to Give this week. Jim Stevens answered the phone.
Yeah, I do that. I pull a shift. I pull it 4 shifts a week.
My thanks to Jim Stevens, the CEO of Gifts to Give at the former Titleist building in Acushnet. Best of luck, sir.
Please come and visit. Jim, thank you so much. Happy holidays.
Same to you, sir. Thank you. Townsquare Sunday returns in just one moment.